Oh, I think I'm on. Hello. Today, we're talking about while loops, which is a form of iteration. When we're talking about iteration, there's three kinds of loops that we're going to talk about: while loops, do while loops, and for loops. Now, today we'll just talk about while loops and do while loops, and we'll talk about for loops after the next project. So, uh, before I tell you what let me tell you what a while loop is. A while loop is a block of code associated with a condition. As long as the condition is true, the loop will continue to run the block of code. Now, why might that be useful? So what I want to show you here is a project that wasn't made in this class, but was made in one of my other classes. And you remember the smiley face lab, I'm sure, because we all had lots of fun with that. Here's a smiley face that was created, I think, in my third period. How many circles do you think are here?
Too many to count. They probably be a while loop.
100. No, wait, infinite.
I counted them. There's like more than 50 circles there. And so let me show you the code.
Probably a while loop.
Well, I counted the lines of code here. So what you can see,
They really just wrote it out.
they just did like copy and paste. The only thing that's different is each number
Is increased by 1.
is increasing by 1. Now, you can take those, I think it's 55 lines of code. You can take them and can condense them down to like 6 lines of code using a while loop. Why would you want to do that? Well, first off, it's gonna. Oh yeah, why would you want to do that?
So you don't have to draw. So you don't have to write 50 lines of code that is technically individual from each other line of code over and over and over.
Yeah, it's gonna save you some time, right? Let the computer do it for you, right? Let the computer, because the computer's gonna do it much faster than you are. That's the main benefit. So the other thing is it's gonna make you a better coder. All right. You don't if you're going to take a bunch of code and copy and paste the same line over and over again, nobody's going to be able to read your code.
It's fine. That's the point.
I don't want anyone.
It just makes it more accessible to anybody who's looking at your code. So let's talk a little bit about while loops here. And I want to just show you a few. So I'm just going to make a variable x. And I'm going to say while x is less than 5. Now, just like with ifs and else ifs, we have a condition with a while loop. And the main...
Wait, don't you have to like... wait, never mind. Sorry.
The main error that I saw when we were doing these if-then statements on coding bat is I saw a lot of people put a semicolon right there. Is there supposed to be a semicolon right there?
No.
What is the thing that's supposed to go after the condition?
The bracket.
Yeah, open and a closed one. So this is the block of code. This is the thing that's going to repeat over and over again. And this is where we're going to specify, hey, computer, I want you to do something. So maybe we just want to print it out. We want to say system.out.println, and we want to just print out x. Okay. And I should probably say, well, x is greater than 5. Because right now, x is not less than 5, so it will never run. I just switched it to greater than 5. When I execute this code, what's going to happen?
It's gonna infinitely.
It's gonna, yeah. This is 10.
How many times is it going to print out 10?
Forever.
Let's find out.
It's a lot.
It's definitely a lot of 10s. It's actually not infinite because there is a point where the computer runs out of RAM. I couldn't tell you how many times that is because I don't want to count, but you can see here at the bottom, it says something to the extent of, sorry, we're not doing that anymore.
We're writing. I'm sick. That's it.
Can't you write a line with count them?
Yes, so that's what we need to do here. We need to add what's called an iterator. And an iterator is just something that's going to change the value of x so this doesn't go forever.
So you do like I equal. I did like.
Well, we could keep it with x. We could just say x is equal to x minus 1. And this will decrease x by 1 each time. So now what's going to print?
Like it's gonna do it like it's gonna be
Like 4x. Well, 4x.
So it'll be 10, 9, 8.
6. And then with 6, because 5 is not greater than 5.
So it's
Put an
going to
equal
print
sign
out,
there.
it'll print out 6, and then it'll subtract 1. 6 minus 1 is 5, and it's going to come back here. Is 5 greater than 5? No. So it's going to kick out of the loop. Right. I was just kind of
Let's put the video
summarizing it. So there it is. It's going to print out 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Now let me just change this code a little bit to make it look better. So most people don't like to use x equals x minus 1. Most people use x minus minus. And that's just a little bit more efficient. That's just a little cheat code there. That's the same thing. That's going to take the value of x, subtract it by 1. How does it change the code if instead of printing and then decreasing x, if instead I decreased x and then print it? What would print out now?
9, 8, 7, 6,
9, 8, 7, 6, and it would print 4 lines with an individual digit in each rather than.
No, it would print 5. No, it would print 5 now, yeah. It's like minus 1.
Why would it print 5 now?
Because when it's 6, you subtract 1.
So 6 is greater than 5. It'll come in here, subtract 1,
And
turns into
5.
Oh.
So what's the first number it's going to print then?
9.
Because it comes in as 10, it's going to subtract 1 and then print it off. So we think it's going to be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And we are correct. Very good. All right. That's kind of the basis of a while loop. Of course, you can do it the other way. So like if I made x 0, and I said, well, x is less than 5. And then we could go the other way. We could iterate x upwards, say x plus plus. What's going to print out on this one?
1 through 0. Oh, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because x is going up by 1. But there's really no reason why x has to go up by 1. So if I change this to 25, you can't use the plus plus if you want to go up by more than 1. You'd have to say x is equal to x plus 5. But you can increase or decrease the amount in the loop as much or as little as you want. Yes, Jackie?
Could you do x plus 2 instead of x equals x plus 2?
Could you do no? You've got to have an equal sign. If you don't assign it back to x, it won't store that data. So you could do it and it would run, but it would never change the value of x.
Okay.
You'd have to do something like x plus equals. Yeah, exactly. In this case, it's 5. So what's going to print out? This is the last one. What's this one? What's going to print out here?
0, 5, 10, 15, 20.
Not going to get 25? Why?
Well, because 25 is not.
There's no equal sign.
How about now?
Okay,
Now it'll print.
All right. Okay, holding on.
Wait, I just got it. Why it's greater than or equal? It just says like it's like an arrow.
Wouldn't you still get 25 even if it wasn't like less than or equal to
Let's see.
0?
I don't think so. I think
No, hold on. So like
They did.
0 turns into 5, 5 turns into 10, 10 turns into 15, 15 to 20. 20 is still less than 25, so 20 becomes 25. You print 25.
You're right, but then it's going to turn to 25, and it's going to come up here. It's 25 less than.
Well, it's not going to turn into 30, but I thought you were saying it's not going to print 25.
It won't.
Wait.
After the print.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
But if I change this to less than or equal to, then it becomes true. 25 does equal 25, so it'll go ahead and print it out.
Oh, I see.
because
There
it
it
says
is.
25 and the statement becomes not true because 25 isn't greater than 25.
Exactly. Now, let me just take a couple minutes here to show you a couple of cool things. This is the gist of while loops. Like, if you understand this, then I don't have anything else to teach you. While loops can be useful in certain situations. Like, let's say I've got a number like 2,548. And what I want to do is I want to piece apart that number. I want to get it into single digits. Instead of having 2,548, I want to have 8, 4, 5, and 2. You can pull apart a number using mods. You could say something like system.out.println. And if I did something like x mod 10, when I divide this number by 10, 2,548, what is that number divided by 10?
254.8.
Okay, but it's an integer.
Oh, it'll be 254.
54. So what's the remainder then?
8.
8. Okay, so when I run this code, what's going to print out?
Oh, the single digit.
8. Okay? Because it's the remainder. So this number divided by 10, the remainder is 8. That's why you had that 0.8 there. Now, if I turn x into, if I say x divide equal 10, what's x going to equal now after I divide it by 10? It's equal to, it's an integer. So what's this number divided by 10? 254. All right. Okay, so that number is 254. So let's just print that out just to make sure. Yeah. Just so you believe me, that's 254. It is. All right, now I'm going to bring it back because that's integer division, remember? Divide equal. All right, so now if I run this line of code again, so we've got x is equal to 254. What's the remainder when I divide by 10? 4. See how I'm starting to pull apart these digits? So what's the number I'm dealing with here? 2,548. Now I've got the 8 and the 4. And now all I really need to do to get the other ones is I just need to copy and paste this a couple of times.
That makes sense, actually.
I'm a bit confused by a bit. I mean, he's confused. What? How?
So you're breaking down the number. So every time, just go back up. So the first time you're dividing it by 10 and getting the remainder, you're basically cutting off that remainder line. And you do that again, you cut it out, do it again and again.
So
we're chopping up the
what is divide equal supposed to do?
That's so taking x and we're setting it to, so another way I could write this is x equals x divided by 10.
And x would end up being the remainder?
No, this is the remainder. This is going to be basically that number chopped off there. Because remember when we do integer division, there's no decimal point. So this becomes 254 when we're divided by 10, which becomes 25, which becomes 2. Because you're dividing by 10, but there's not going to be any decimal place because it's an integer.
I'm guessing when you put this in a while loop, you'll get those just.
Right, so the whole point, so this wasn't really what I wanted to show you. What I want to show you is you can simplify your code. Anytime you find yourself copying and pasting like I just did, you can use a while loop. So I'm going to just get rid of some of this code here, and I'm just going to change it into a while loop. I'm going to say while x is greater than 0, do this stuff. And it should give me the same result. It should give me 8, 4, 5, 2. And it does. So the whole point of this is just to say, anytime you've got a method that you're doing over and over and over again, it's probably easier to just go ahead and build yourself a while loop just to save yourself some time to clean up your code. Now we also have do while loops, which are the same thing, except you put the condition at the end, and at the beginning, you say, do this stuff. The answer will be the exact same thing, 8, 4, 5, 2. The only difference here with a do while loop is that it doesn't check the condition until the end of the first iteration. So if you find yourself in a situation where you want the loop to run at least one time, you could use a do while loop.
Wait, so what happens if the thing is false then?
It will run exactly one time. Meanwhile,
I get it. So like,
because it'll get down here and then it will check.
So if it was a shorter number, then it would have only done it once.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Right. So like I could do. So it wouldn't make sense to chop up x equals 0 because x is not greater than 0, but it's going to go ahead and do it anyway in a do while loop.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because it runs everything inside of the curly braces at least one time. So I don't find do while loops very useful. I don't use them very much. I almost always use a while loop in my programs. But if you find yourself in a situation where you want the loop to run at least one time, you could use a do while loop instead. Okay, I think that's all I've got to say about that. Say goodbye to our friends on the video.
Bye-bye.